And the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, if it was somebody else, they wouldn't fight. If you had a normal person, if you had some stiff sitting behind you, they'd be fine. But they have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, Senator Schumer's become a Palestinian. He's welcome. I don't know when they're going to give him the ceremony, whatever the ceremony may be. But it's terrible what's happened to the Democrats. And the
At least he's funny. Good morning.
Oh my goodness.
Rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. It's Friday, thank God. So I've got a beautiful, smoking hot, redheaded libertarian wife sitting right next to me. Hi, Steffi.
Hello. We're still recovering from Washington, D.C. Literally the day that we were leaving, that's when we were starting to get sick, and that's what we're still trying to recover from now.
This is our fault. Everything's our fault today. Trump is our fault. The shoe business becoming unviable is our fault. Not voting for Chase Oliver, our fault. It's our fault that Chase Oliver is not the president of the United States. Whoops!
I honestly forgot he existed. When I saw his name, I was like, oh, he sounds familiar. Who is he?
And like, if you know Steffi, you have to know that when she says something like, I forgot he existed, she's not like making that as a joke. She really did forget that Chase Oliver.
Oh no, I'm not being sarcastic about it. Yeah. I truly just haven't heard from him since he ran for president months ago. He fell off the face of the earth. There's just like a Joan, what's her name? Jo Jorgensen? I don't even know her name anymore.
I feel like I didn't even win the nomination for president of the United States, but like I'm still somehow more visible than Chase Oliver, who was the actual candidate, which is kind of womp-womp.
You're still more legendary. And I think it's because the people that you were running against were so much in the public eye, like John McAfee, Gary Johnson. So you were up there on the stage with some of the really big players, whereas people like Chase Oliver, he wasn't really up against anybody big. It was just a lot of the smaller players up against each other. So I think the fact that you were on the stage with other people who were really famous, I think that helped boost you even more.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me tell me this. I mean, I think you're absolutely right about that. And all eyes were on the Libertarians.
Because I remember when I saw you on that debate stage, I was watching for Gary Johnson.
Right.
But I saw you and I was like, wow, he's really good too.
Right. So I gotta tweak the mic settings here for a minute.
Okay.
Will you do me a favor?
Sure.
And tell the audience the story of what blew up overnight and what happened, and then I'll come in and fill it in once I fix the mic.
So apparently Chase Oliver had taken a screenshot of 2 of your tweets. So one tweet, I guess, was from a long time ago saying how Trump is going to help the economy. And then the next tweet, I believe, was from very recently. I honestly have not been on social media much, so I have not been following what's going on. And so this might be a little out of context. But anyway, so he said that you wrote about your shoe business is now failing because of Trump's tariffs. And so now that Chase put that out there, apparently there's a very large Reddit forum that was developed overnight. And it had that screenshot of those tweets. And so all of these leftists are now attacking you and the business and saying that your business is failing.
We're getting a lot of hate this morning.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. And in our Shopify Messenger, where people can message us from our forlibertyshop.com page, we're getting all kinds of mean messages. I mean, they sound so stupid. They honestly sound like they're from robots. I don't even know how they think they're being offensive at all, but they're just being like, you're a dumb A. How does it feel to have a failing shoe business? Ha ha. Aren't you laughing now? I mean, it's like, it's stupid.
It's kind of a good inside joke, and let me know if my microphone is getting better or if it's worse. Hopefully it's getting better, but let me know. So here's what it is. It's not a Reddit forum. So the Reddit forum already exists, and it's a pretty good joke. It's like a way of like the left attacking the right by saying that I can't believe that when I voted for the Leopards Ate My Face party that the leopards would eat my face, which is legitimately funny.
What is this Leopards Ate My Face? I've never heard of this before. I'm totally not in on Reddit. I don't use Reddit. I don't even know what the culture is about there.
So let me pull it up here for you guys so you can see. Mike is better AP. Thank you, John. Thanks for letting me know.
I only go on Reddit from time to time when I'm looking for advice on
here
like baby stuff.
So this is what Chase Oliver posted yesterday, and it's interesting because like he had to go in the archives to find that. So he was like he was waiting to get me. He was going to get me one day, right?
Yeah, it's like, why did he have these tweets saved? What's going on?
Well, listen, when you run for office, you make enemies, and you make enemies for life, and that's just what it is. You have to expect that, right?
You didn't even do anything to him.
Yes,
All you said was you didn't agree with his stance.
No, well, here's the thing. Me calling him out on that got a lot of attention.
But a lot of people called him out. Maybe he needs to have TRHL, Libertarian, and all the others on his list, too.
Well, here, I'll explain this to you. I think, a lot of libertarians see me as like a traitor for not supporting the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
Even though I support the ideas, right? And when you go to the Republican Party, they think, oh, you're a traitor. You're terrible. Oh, you're the problem. Right?
That's why I left the LP.
Yeah.
I was in the LP for 1 year, and then I left because they were making fun of me for voting for Justin Amash and for wanting you to win the Republican nomination.
That's why
they're like, you're such a traitor. How are you voting for them?
Well, and that's why it's better just to be away from them at all, because again, you'll never satisfy them. It's like a cult, right? They operate on a cult mentality, and they'll never get out of that, just because it's like, when you start a political party based on the concept of an ideology necessarily, rather than like a set of issues that like you can generally form like a coalition around, it becomes inbred, right? And the liberty movement in general is very intellectually inbred, right? We don't really listen to people who disagree with us because that doesn't confirm our biases. Yeah. And so libertarianism has been washed away largely in the United States after the Tea Parties because most libertarians have been unable to contend with the new changes in politics.
Right.
And so they've been unable to cope and deal with the times they is. And people like myself just chose to work with the Republican Party, warts and all, knowing that like things like this would happen, like the shoes, for example. Like, did I vote for the leopards eating my face party, knowing that the leopards would eat my face? Yes, right. Which might confuse some people until you realize that there is more at stake in a national election than just one single issue like tariffs. Right, there are other issues as well.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure your shoe business really would have failed if Kamala had come into office.
Yes, but the interesting thing is that, and here's the thing, in knowing that the leopards would eat my face, I took some step. I can't build a shoe factory in the United States, but what I could do is buy a minivan before those prices got jacked.
Right.
And guess who called it? Because I knew that I was voting for the leopards ate my face party.
I know. It was totally you, because I said, hey, don't things usually get better after the president is elected? Don't you think he's going to help prices and make car prices better? Let's just wait. Let's see after the new year what happens. I was the one who said that. And I don't even really care for Trump, honest. I don't trust that guy. But at that moment, I really believed that he was going to make things better.
Well, he has made some things better. And the thing is that the truth is that the bar is so low for people like ourselves. You have to understand, the bar is so low for us to get anything accomplished that I saw a vote for Trump as saying he's going to do a lot of bad things. Yeah. Probably he's going to do more bad things than he's going to do good things. But he's going to do some good things, which he has done, freeing Ross and putting Elon Musk in to do some spending cuts, abolishing the Department of Education federally, signing executive orders on things like that. So some good things is better than no good things, which is what the alternative was, which is normally we're used to voting for two candidates where it's like, no good things and no good things, right? Yeah. You get absolutely nothing. But with Trump, we got something. But here's the thing. I mean, I committed to the fact that I knew that there were going to be like things like tariffs that I was going to disagree with. But I already said to myself, I would oppose them. I would speak out against them. And, that puts me at risk because I'm a member of the party, right? You know, members of my own party, they're like, oh, you're a traitor, blah, blah, blah. You're a globalist. You know what I mean? But the people who are like libertarians and leftists, they have no skin in the game. They can criticize, but they have nothing to. They're not risking anything. And most of them are poor and broke and don't have businesses or
Yeah, exactly.
So,
it's like at least you have a failing business. These people didn't even try to start a business, and our business is not even failing. I mean, I don't know. Give me the update. Is our shoe business really failing?
Here's the truth.
People have been buying our shoes.
Well, yes. Okay. But here's the thing. Now, I mean, and like let's we talk about the business all the time. So let's
and so far we have not been impacted by tariffs at all.
Well, now we got things have changed.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard the new details.
So here's the new. dude.
I guess we're having a mini business meeting here this morning.
They get to sit in on if you've never run a business, here you go. You get to sit in on our situation.
Right.
So this is called the de minimis exemption. Okay, so starting May 2nd.
That was this week.
Right,
Okay.
The U.S. removed the de minimis exemption for certain imports from China, which is where our shoes come from. This affects some of our products and could impact your U.S. customers. So what's changing? For products below, fulfilled and shipped from China to the U.S., import duties, which are typically up to 145% tariffs, on top of pre-existing tariffs, may be applied when orders are delivered. Okay, and this is going to be two items. One is is like a crew neck sweater, and then the other are custom shoes.
Yeah,
which was what we do. We had, and last year we sold a lot of custom shoes because of Javier Milei's Fueras, which got internationally
right. But
famous.
if we send them to Argentina, would they have the tariffs?
Yes, because and it would actually be worse for Argentinians because they probably have even way higher tariffs because Argentina has been a socialist nation up until Javier Milei, and this is all very complicated stuff. But there's this trade group called Mercosur that Argentina is a party to, and they can't lower their tariffs. Like Javier Milei would love to lower tariffs on the United States and have more free trade with the United States, but they can't because they're signatory to this trade agreement, and so they can't lower tariffs to the United States or create a better business environment in the United States. But it wouldn't matter anyway because the shoes that we have are manufactured in China,
right?
And so this is like the perfect storm where you have economic illiterates who are pro tariffs on the right who are attacking us for selling products from China, which I guarantee if you walk in any of their homes are full of junk from China.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But we're the problem, right? Because we actually, instead of work-a-daying, we try and make a business.
Right.
So you have the perfect storm of those people, the economic illiterates, and then you have or just the people who hate rich people on the right, which is weird. You have leftists who really are communists and hate rich people who are attacking us because they're like, you voted for this, you deserve it. And then you have libertarians who are attacking us because they're like, oh, you should support the Libertarian Party or Chase Oliver, or you voted for this and you deserve it. And they just personally dislike me because I'm no longer a member of the Libertarian Party. So that's why it's this storm. That's why our email inbox is getting flooded. This Reddit thread, you could see the analytics on the website. Like there's just been a huge number of people that have come into our website in the last 24 hours. But I mean, like, real life is complicated. It's not simple. You can't just, break every single concept down to a tweet. It's like, could I explain to, people on Twitter about Argentina's Mercosur agreement? Sure. Would they read it? Probably not. But that's what the podcast is for, right? This is our chance to explain how we feel about things, where we're coming from, and offer a little bit of nuance in a sea of black and white. And people who are only binary thinkers, right? So,
do you really think Donald Trump is helping the economy? Going back to this tweet here, I'm voting for Donald Trump for the economy. What is he doing good for the economy right now?
Well, it depends on. So here's the thing: you could say a lot of things. You could make a lot of arguments, and you could say, what is he doing directly, and then what is he doing indirectly? Probably the biggest impact that it would have long term would be abolishing the Department of Education. And in terms of spending, it's one thing, but on the second, on the aspect of if people are less stupid because they don't go to public schools, then they won't support tariffs because tariffs are for morons who don't understand economics,
Right.
who don't understand economics 101.
Yeah.
So long term, you're helping the economy because the future generations will be less, what's the word, brain-botted by the Department of Education. Depending on now this is where things get bad, and we really do have to like look at Trump with a jaundiced eye. But depending on what happens with the GOP spending bill that's coming up, right? What they're looking for, which is this big, beautiful bill, there may or may not be tax increases.
Oh, great.
Now, tax increases.
So tariff increases, tax increases.
Exactly, because and people are like, you voted for this. Actually, no, we voted to abolish the income tax, not increase the
Right,
rates.
didn't he say he was going to abolish the income tax?
And replace it with tariffs. Yeah, at least he alluded to it.
So he's lying,
Well, yes, he's a
just like
politician.
everybody else.
He's a politician, so all about it.
So now, in terms of the shoe business, so you said, they're going to increase 140 whatever percent, but that's upon delivery. So will we really have that cost on us, or will the customer then have to pay it at the post office? Like, where in the world does this 140 something percent come
Now
in?
this is where things get interesting.
Yeah.
Because when I didn't say, our business is failing, like, the shoe business, the shoe aspect of the business is.
Well, you said, well, there went my shoe business.
Right, because
Yeah.
that's but it's not, we don't just sell shoes, obviously.
Right.
Joni, thank you. She says, are the exemptions about size, money, or specific products? It's specific. You say exemptions. What exemptions?
Oh, she's talking about that email you're
The
reading.
de minimis?
Here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, de minimis
What is
is
that for?
anything less than $800. So transactions less than $800. And so this affects us because we ship directly from China to the customer. They print it, they make it, they print it, they send it to the customer with our design. Right? This is what like drop shipping and print on demand
But we're
means.
switching companies, aren't we?
It doesn't matter. Still comes from China.
Oh.
Still, though, they all like the thing is, people are like, oh, we'll buy the shoes in the United States. We can't afford to buy the shoes in the United States, just like we can't afford to buy like the coffee that's sitting in front of our Founding Flavors. It's from Hawaii. It's more expensive, and there's not enough of it. The demand for coffee is so high, you have to buy it from places like Colombia, Chile, Guatemala, et cetera, et cetera. But the de minimis exemption is $800 or less, right? So we were exempt from like things like tariffs before, certain tariffs, because our transactions are under $800, and so therefore we weren't like paying full tariffs like big corporations would tend to do,
Right.
except that companies like Shein and Temu,
Yeah.
they were using those de minimis exemptions as well to not have to pay tariffs that that were supposed to be aimed at large corporations, because most of the time people who were buying things from Shein or Temu were less than $800.
Yeah. Their
Right.
stuff is so cheap.
Right. So Trump, in order to punish Shein and Temu for manufacturing the kinds of clothes that made him rich, it has removed the de minimis exemption. And this removal of the de minimis exemption now strikes at us. So how would this work?
Yeah.
Here's how this would work. If somebody goes to forlibertyshop.com this morning and buys a pair of shoes,
For like $70.
$70,
Yeah.
then they will be hit when they go to the post office with a 145% charge of the cost of the item.
What if they don't go to the post office? What if it comes to their door?
It won't come to their door because it'll be. Remember when we first started learning the business? Do you remember when we started dealing with import problems from other countries? Like we would sometimes get like a sale through Germany, or like we did get some people who wanted to buy shoes and things in Argentina.
Yeah, and then they would have to pay a fee when they picked it up from the post office. And our suppliers actually reimburse those fees typically. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, right, but here's the thing: in this situation, customer pays.
Yeah.
So no longer would those shoes be going straight to the customer anymore. They would be delivered to their local post office. The customer would have to go to the post office.
Just like customs.
Yeah, and pay 145% fee of the cost of the shoe. So can you imagine like what that would do to, like, here's the thing. Could we do that? Sure. Is it viable? It could be if enough people are willing to do it. I don't think people will buy.
Well,
with that
the people who just bought shoes this week, I guess, let us know if you have to go to the post office and pay this, because apparently it's in effect now.
Well, yes. And thank you to Dad Bod Baboon. They're asking questions about accepting Bitcoin. Yeah, we do accept Bitcoin, and I have a wallet. I'll just have to post it in there later. Thank you to Nelson for the Steelbringer for the gifts. The gifted sub.
Oh, what was it? Sorry, I just got sidetracked.
By the way, we do have bonus content
Bitcoin,
today.
that's right.
We do have Bitcoin. We do have bonus content today. So if we hit $75 raised by the end of the show, you guys will get to see a really fun little Lego mini documentary. So enjoy.
Well, I wanted to say, isn't there some big news about Bitcoin that just happened overnight? It keeps rising and rising. And then there's something about how Ethereum is going to go to zero.
It is, but I'm not going to chase we're not going to chase that rabbit hole right now.
I don't even know what it's all about.
We're not going to change the subject because...
Oh, well, they just were asking about Bitcoin.
I understand,
so,
but it doesn't matter. We're not going to change the subject right now. I acknowledge it. We will discuss it. We have a Bitcoin number, but we're not going to be talking about like Bitcoin stuff right now.
Oh, yeah.
But in regards to the de minimis, so now that this $800 and under de minimis exemption has been removed, now, like the aim was to go after Sheen and Timo, but it nails people like us who are trying to work our way out of poverty and not be slaves to a corporate master, and for daring to believe that our government ever had our own best interests out at heart.
Right.
We'd be, what the truth is, Stephanie? We would be better off if we went to, and I'm not saying Bob Onder is corrupt or like Eric Schmidt or our senators, but we would be better served by taking the money that we spend on things like advertising and just take that money and just give it to the politicians in our state and donate it to them and go to meetings with them and go to like parties with them and twist their arms to give us stuff. We would make more money. We'd have more clout by taking the money that we use for things like advertising and just paying our politicians to not.
Can't they not accept dollars?
Well, you give it so you slush fund it, right? You run the money through PACs and super PACs and and you create these institutions and then you run the money through that. Geez. But it's a mafia, right? The government operates like a mafia. It's you're gonna pay. Yeah. Right, you're going to pay, and they're going to.
Isn't that what lobbyists do for the politicians?
No, so
don't they treat them to things and be like, "Here, vote for."
They can.
Yeah.
What my guess is now is that how the American system runs is that the lobbyists, instead of paying directly, they usually will do things like insider trading with Congress. So, how does AOC and Bernie Sanders how do they get rich? Right,
I don't know.
AOC was a bartender 7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
Now she's a millionaire. Well, what I think happens is that lobbyists, instead of directly giving them cash, they're like, "Hey, I work for Microsoft. We're getting ready to release a new product. You need to buy some stock or something." You know what I mean?
Wow.
And then they just go out and they do it and they get rich, right? Because what else? How else would you explain it, right?
Well, maybe we just need to change our whole product design for our shoes. We can start to make them from scratch out of straw. We can start to make straw shoes by hand, maybe. Mm-hmm. And then we can definitely produce them here in the U.S. There has to be a way to produce them here in the U.S. without them being super expensive. Because aren't there a lot of shoe companies here that are U.S. made shoes, and their shoes aren't $200 or anything?
What are you talking about?
I was saying, maybe we should transition to a U.S.-based shoe model.
Honey, here's the thing. All of the other products in the shop, they're not all made in China.
Right, we do have U.S.
Don't we always try and source products from the United States if we can? Yes, we always do. We absolutely try and do things. But you can't do everything from the United States. And the problem with the shoes, for example, in the shoe market is that this is where really this is really where the rubber hits the road, is that it's damn near impossible to start a business here in the United States because of the taxes and the regulations and the minimum wages and everything that you have to do. Yeah. I mean, Stephanie, people don't understand. If you've never hired an employee Like, I don't want to hear your opinion on this because I really don't. Have you ever been there? Yes, you should be an expert on this. You should have run a business before you get to have an opinion on what it's like to have to pay the taxes every 2 weeks. To pay somebody else's, because we don't. It's not just income taxes that we pay, Stephanie. Payroll taxes. Now the tariffs, right? Like, we pay as business owners. We pay lots of taxes.
Yeah,
lots and lots of different types of taxes that normal workaday W-2 employees do not ever see. They don't even know what their employee is paying to have them on there. Most people have no clue what their employers are paying in taxes just to have them around. Here's the thing: we only have one full-time staffer.
I know.
If we had 50, oh my God! All of a sudden, new regulations would kick in, right? All of a sudden, you would be required to carry certain types of insurance. You'd have all these new requirements, and if it's something, they're talking about de minimis exemptions. Like, if you have like 5 or 10, they start kicking up into high gear, and then your workman's comp goes up, and everything, just like the amount of tax that you pay. It's like you're doing this amount of work to pay this amount of taxes,
right?
And then you're hoping your profit margin is going to be something like this. It's like, oh God, these are the taxes. This is what you're getting. This is what your employees are getting. All that kind of stuff. Well, the American working man gets screwed. The American employer gets screwed. Nobody wins in a system that raises taxes, whether they're tariffs, income taxes, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that's why I like to be a contractor. I have my own business. I have an LLC. But I'm a contractor for other companies. So it's like, really, nobody truly owns me. But these businesses could kick me off of their services and be like, you can't work for us anymore. But I don't have to pay all those taxes other than quarterly taxes. Those are the ones that get me. So I think having a full-blown business with employees and all of that stuff, I think that is super hard. But if you're just like a contractor with an LLC, I think that's probably like the best way to go, to have a good balance between quality of life and, still making good money.
Most people can't do that, I don't think, right? Contracting, right? But I mean, like, it's funny. Trump got rich buying products from overseas and selling them here in the United States, in part, right? I've got a Trump tie. It says "Made in Bangladesh," for example.
Of course.
But now they're pulling up the ladder for the rest of us. But this is always how it works, right? This is always how it's been. Is that in order to get rich in this country, you have to already be rich.
Yes. It definitely helps to have money.
Yeah, and if you want to have money, you need to have money.
It takes money to make money. That's what it's always been.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's just how it is. If your parents raise you with money, then usually you're going to be pretty much fine in your life.
Yeah.
It's hard to rise up from the bottom.
People
do it. I mean, you see these homeless kids going to Harvard, but they get these amazing scholarships, and I feel like that's mostly luck.
So anyways, you asked the question, which is a good question. Can we make shoes in the United States?
Yeah.
The problem, it's kind of like the same problem. It's a chicken and egg scenario. It's the same problem with the coffee, for example. So until we get bigger, we can't, and we know how much coffee we can sell, we can't bulk buy it to drive the price down yet, because it's a risky investment for us until we know how much we can sell within a certain framework. We'd have to have a whole division that's job is to sell enough coffee within this margin, and we'd have a higher margin because we'd get a lower cost if we bought bulk coffee, but you'd have to expend $8,000 to do it, right? We could do something like that with shoes that are American made, but it would actually probably have to be more than $8,000. It would be more like $16,000 to $24,000, right? Which, at some point might make sense for us to do. But in terms of the volume that we have right now, this is year 3 of this business. We're still experimenting, learning what works, building partnerships with the business, and
we've got eggs in a lot of different baskets.
Right.
Luckily.
Right. Exactly. And that's the point. If the shoe business, because we don't want our customers to be annoyed with us and go to the post office and have to pay a 145% Trump tariff, then we could just say, okay, well, we're not going to do shoes, but we'll do coffee and we'll do beach towels and we'll
and I think we need to ramp up the 3D printing stuff again.
No, because
that's something that we produce here. Nobody can tariff that.
Yes, they can, because where do you think that where do you think the 3D printers come from?
The materials, yeah.
Where do you think the plastic comes from?
Right.
No, you can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. You think you can, but you can't. Manufacturers in this country, where do you think that the machines that are made that build the robots in the factories are made?
They're international.
Yeah, they're international, right? Everybody is dependent on international trade. But when the government steps in and increases the tariff and does stuff like that, they start with the first victims are not the big guys. The first victims are all the people on the smaller end of the spectrum. So when they start destroying villages and towns, they start by working on the margins. The smaller guys, they get crunched up and eaten up. And then eventually what happens is consolidation. It's kind of like what happened with COVID, where all these mom and pop businesses went bankrupt. Yeah. And then, of course, Walmart, Amazon, all the big businesses get bigger because the governments, when they increase a tax, they screw all the competition. It's always
I can speak to the Amazon getting bigger because honestly, since COVID, I've gotten used to buying things, even salad dressing, mayonnaise. I buy the littlest of things from Amazon, and I don't even like to go to the store anymore. I buy my pants from Amazon. I mean, there's pretty much everything on Amazon except for produce. But if we were in Washington, D.C., we would be able to get Amazon Fresh shipped to our door, which is produce or food. So, yeah, I'm one of those people where I pretty much predominantly use Amazon now because of COVID.
Well, but see, the thing that sort of created that consolidation was the forced closure of businesses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. T-Mill22 says, we used to have two shoe factories in Jefferson City, Missouri, shut down in the 60s. Interesting.
Oh, great. I was like, maybe we can go visit them, but they're gone.
Yeah. And Brad's talking about the news right now. He says, now this morning, he's teasing the idea of dropping China's tariffs to 80%. Right.
He's just messing with us. A lot of our libertarian friends, they say, this is just part of the plan. Right. This is a negotiation, manipulation tactic. I tend to believe that, honestly, knowing that Trump is a businessman and he likes to make deals.
To some extent, it isn't. And even if, if people are, dunking on us and feeling like we got owned or whatever, I'm glad that it's an opportunity for us to, talk about these issues with people because they are quite complex. And,
I don't understand them.
And you run the business right next to me, right? Well, here's the thing. It's just, in some sense, I don't understand the market because if I truly understood the market, we would just, be rich. But here's the thing. Right. For most people who didn't go to business school, Harvard Law, or didn't have rich parents who can or you're not Ben Shapiro and you can start a media group with $6 million right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Then you have to what you're doing, the way that we're operating is that we're in a fog.
Yeah.
And we're searching for prices that operate. We're using all of our creativity to create products and brands. Like our Jeffersonian Java here, right? We're trying to find suppliers we work with. I mean, how many hours and hours of meetings have I been in with suppliers, trying to get on the phone with them, figure out how do we ship this? What is the size dimensions and how do we make all this kind of stuff?
I know.
Work?
I remember even just finding the tea supplier. It took me over a year.
It took a year to find somebody that we could supply tea from. And we were looking.
There are not a lot of tea suppliers.
They're not. Not that we can get to deliver to their front door at a reasonable, thing. And the prices, our prices, I admit, are a little bit unreasonable.
Unreasonable?
Well, compared to if you go to Walmart, we can't compete.
Oh.
We can't compete with Amazon.
I will tell you though, when we were at Mount Vernon, I was looking at those gift shops and the little vendor areas, and their coffees and teas are right in alignment with our prices.
Yes,
but it's because you're at Mount Vernon and you're paying for the name.
Right, but here's the thing. A lot of libertarians have started shops and stores and things like that, and they fold after 6 months or a year.
Oh yeah,
they never they don't get international news stories written about sneakers that they produce for their libertarian shops. But the reason why we do is because, Stephanie, we have something special that other people don't, and it's our unique capability of creativity. We have a level of creativity that stands us apart from our competitors, and therefore people are willing to pay more for our products and our items because they cannot get it anywhere else. Nobody else is doing what we're doing the way we're doing it. Other people are doing what we're doing, but they're not doing it the way we're doing it.
Right. I just wrote an email yesterday to our shop supporters about things you can't get at Mount Vernon.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we were looking around at the Mount Vernon gift shop, and I mean, there are just so many spots where like we could totally fill in products. They really just don't have much of a selection of fun merchandise. It's all just very generic and boring.
Yeah, and so for us, like, can you buy coffee anywhere? Sure, but here's the thing: we found a great coffee supply. We found really good coffee. Founding Flavors is delicious coffee.
Yeah,
it's not just any drop shipper. And then we have beautiful packaging.
You don't see that kind of packaging at gift shops. You usually just see like a blank bag that's like, one single color, and then it has a sticker label on it.
Right. And so we found this, and we designed this beautiful Jefferson's Monticello. Yeah. And so the coffee is really high quality, and when you have that sitting on your desk or something like that, people are going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's fun, and especially when you have all of them together. You've got...
Because I'm not going to lie, like, people judge books by their cover.
Yes,
they may say, oh, no, I don't care about how stuff... Yes, you do. Because this is what will stand out on a shelf.
Yeah, absolutely. And people buy our products more for the novelty of them.
Right.
Although, we do rely on the fact that people are willing to pay more to support us personally, right? And we trade on the good... the good quality of our name, right?
They're paying for our brand as well. Although our brand is not as big as Mount Vernon, but they're still paying for us.
Exactly. And if we went to Monticello and we designed products for Monticello,
it's even worse over there, you guys.
It's terrible.
Things you can't get at Monticello. Pretty much everything you can't get.
There's your next email you need to do. Things you can't get at Monticello for our Thomas Jefferson collection, Stephanie. Good idea. There we go. In our meeting today, we just came up with our next marketing email.
Well, thank you for sitting in on our business meeting. We appreciate it. We have a lack of time in general, so it's nice to
we can work
get
while
two
we're
birds
working.
with one stone. And today we're going to do so much streaming. We've got Freedom Arcade. We're going to do like lots of hours of streaming.
Right. Tonight at 9 p.m. Central.
Well, we've got a lot of hours that we have to make up because of all the Fridays that we're not able to stream.
That's true. Last week we weren't here, and next week I'm going to be in L.A.
Yeah.
Drew Van Runkle says he drinks 6 cups a day, so he'll stick to his Costco coffee. But here's
6 cups a day?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
What I recommend you do is this, though, Drew. You should just go ahead and get a box of our coffee, and then just what I do is I do like one day I'll do like the cheapo stuff, one day I'll do the good stuff, or I'll like cut it where I'll put like good stuff is like 50-50, and then that way it just like improves the taste overall, and that's like a good way to like not expend as much, even though our coffee is a little pricier.
Right. Use it for special occasions. If you're having a party or someone special over, just take it out. Kind of like a nice bottle of wine, right? Look at it as you're taking out the nice bottle of wine for your family and friends.
That's a good way to look at it, Stephanie. I think that's wise.
Thank you. I think it's the cough medicine that really has me like on point today. I feel really sharp, honestly. There's something in that Dayquil. Yeah.
So they're owning us over on Twitter this morning, Stephanie. They're like, because the tweets, the responses to our show. Oh, the numbers have been really high.
The leftists are owning us?
Oh, yeah, the leftists. They're owning us. They're reminding us that we voted for this.
Yeah, people in their comments on Reddit were even talking about me. They were like, poor Steffi, and, because you mentioned me in your tweet there.
Yes.
Steffi and I are getting wiped out.
Well, I say, why does government punish small business in this country knowing full well that Nike and all the big brands will be fine paying the taxes, but Steffi and I get wiped out, right?
I know.
And we sort of answered that with the discussion on like Shein and Temu and the de minimis exemptions. But I mean, and that also the story of how COVID-19 created business consolidation as well, right? Where everybody went to Amazon and all these other online stores.
Hey, I'm guilty of it too, because honestly, I guess I'm selfish in that I look at my own interests. And now that we have a baby, I just look at saving costs. And so pretty much I buy things from places that have the lowest costs. I just did a curbside order from Walmart the other day. I just bought medicine for Hazel from Amazon the other day.
Stephanie, congratulations.
So it's like, I use those stores.
Stephanie, congratulations. You are 100% of the U.S. population.
Yeah.
So does absolutely everyone else.
And so maybe I'm part of the cause of the downfall of this economy.
No, you're
with
not.
Small businesses.
No, you're not. Here's the thing. The small businesses would, if they were allowed to compete, they would be fine.
Yeah.
But it's the corporations. The corporations aren't the ones writing the laws. Sometimes they do. The corporations aren't the ones signing the laws that are written by Congress. But it's the government are the ones who create the rules. They're the ones who raise the tariffs. You know, the corporations don't raise the tariffs.
Right.
Right? The corporations don't set the income tax rates.
But the corporations might put a few dollars towards the politicians to entice them to do such things, right?
Well, here's the thing. You know, we do support local stores. Here's the thing. If you buy from the For Liberty shop a pair of shoes, someone in China gets some money, but so do we.
Yeah.
Right? So two people are benefiting.
Right.
Right? They don't want the Chinese person to benefit. I understand that. But like, you're actually helping an American family run an American small business.
At the expense of a Chinese child.
At the expense of a Chinese... What do you mean the expense of a Chinese child?
In a sweatshop.
No, and see, there's another thing. This is why, like, when you spend... Most libertarians who spent their life in conspiracy world rather than economy world, they don't know all the economic stuff. But here's the thing. Two parties... The children used to be prostitutes.
Yeah.
Okay. What are they doing now?
Now they're in factories.
Okay.
So that's a step up. Sure.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
No shit, it's a step up. Right? So now what do? We force them back into child prostitution.
Right. Because now they're out of jobs.
Right. Well,
because people are not using their supplies as much anymore.
Like, I hate to sound like an elitist, arrogant son of a bitch, but I mean, like, at the Austrian economics advanced class school, you take the economic history of the 20th century. Here's how it works. Okay, like you do what you do best. You trade for the rest. Right. The way capitalism works is that it builds in stages. People think that because of how we are right now, of how that we've advanced, capitalism advanced, that China can just immediately copy everything that we're doing. And they do in some sense, like steal our technology and then use it over there, right? But for the most part, you still have to build up an infrastructure of an economy, and people are going to have to work for shit wages or work for free in order to get out of circumstances that they were working, you know, even for pay before, that are still an improved experience if you're an intern and you're working for someone else, right? But you don't go from 0 to 100. They're looking at a cliff face, right? You're looking at it like it's a cliff face, when the truth is that capitalism was the path up the backside of the cliff to get up there, right? China, in order to build up its infrastructure and its economy, goes from child prostitutes and rice farms and rice fields to factories with difficult working conditions that we would call sweatshops,
right?
But which were the United States used to have, by the way. Right?
Oh, yeah. Kids used to work here in America, too.
Yeah. Kids used to work in sweatshops here in the United States. Right, we outlawed the child labor, right, and we outsourced the labor because it turns out Americans really don't want to do those kinds of dangerous, sweaty, that should be underpaid jobs. Because how can you not think that on one hand that you should get the minimum wage abolished, and then not think that people are going to pay smaller wages, like $1 an hour, $2 an hour, $3, $5, $7 an hour.
Right. Well, now I'm looking at this a little differently. So maybe we should look at it as the lesser of evils regarding China, right? So all the things we do, are we really just trying to improve their way of life there by doing these different tactics?
Well, it depends. I mean, it sort of depends on where you're coming from with
or
that,
should
right?
we just say we don't care at all? Let's just get them out of this and they can go rot and
Well, I think that there's
and hurt everybody, and who cares? It's none of our business.
Well, I think that there's a national security argument to be made to say that, that there may be, we need to re-coordinate our trade practices away from China and perhaps towards India. But
they've got their own issues in India.
But here's the thing: as long as the government makes it illegal, through taxes and regulations, to have businesses here in the United States, I have no problem with outsourcing around the world, because the government has made it illegal for us to do it here.
Right.
So if I can exploit international trade to make a living and to pay for my family and build a business because the system exists as it is, I don't feel any moral compunctions against doing so, because the government is already kicking me in the nuts here in the United States. They're already making it illegal to hire anyone for less than $15 an hour in this country. So as long as the government makes it impossible to do the kinds of things that it takes to actually produce shoes or sell coffee or things like that at reasonable prices, then I think it's perfectly fair and fine to use international trade.
Yeah, when really these tariffs are actually hurting the people, specifically the children in China, even more. You've just made me realize that. I never thought of it that way.
Well, of course,
but these tariffs are actually hurting their people even more. And maybe that's an American supremacist kind of idea where it's like, we don't care about them.
Well, to some extent, all right.
It feels very immoral for me to say that.
Well,
I want to say I care and I want better living conditions for those people, but really as a libertarian, should I care? We shouldn't be involved.
Well, it depends on the libertarian, right?
Right.
Not all libertarians. So some libertarians are like universalists, and they're kind of like hippies, and they think everybody should be, with us heal the world.
What about the children, right? All the Middle East children, the African children.
Some libertarians are nationalists, and they don't necessarily care about what happens to people overseas or things like that. Some of them, that's more of a nationalist view, right? But some are universalists, right? They don't believe in borders. They believe in global anarchy. They believe in open borders and anarchy and all, the different things like that. But in regards to how we should feel about it, well, I mean, do you want the child labor in China, in Shenzhen? Do you want them to go back into the rice fields and be a child prostitute or not?
I personally don't want that. I would feel bad if what we're doing here in America is truly hurting people like that.
Well, the choice was never to not hurt anybody,
right?
Because the truth is that life is about trade-offs.
Yeah,
there are no.
We're going to hurt them, but I feel like if what we're doing is truly directly impacting these people and causing this, wouldn't there be some blowback?
To some extent,
right?
To some extent. So how you have to think, you have to look at this as like a multipolar situation, okay? Because it's not just either or. Like certain incomes are going to impact other outcomes. And things. So you have to kind of like look at things like from this multipolar arrangement, right? So is it going to hurt? Are the tariffs that they're laying, is it going to hurt us, and is it going to hurt China? Yes, right. But a lot of people support that, Stephanie, because of what they did to us in COVID-19.
Sure, we're getting revenge. I get it.
Right, but we're kicking ourselves in the nuts in order to hurt them. Right. There are ways to put the hurt on the Chinese that don't involve taxing American citizens, right? But that would involve things like military, counter espionage. And I'm fine for that. I'm actually in favor of that.
Don't hurt the children. Gosh, I sound like Dave Smith, right? Don't hurt the kids. Go right to the source of who messed us up. Go right to Wuhan, right? Like there's no children at the lab in Wuhan, hopefully. Just go for them. Why do we have to hurt the people?
I agree. Well, the tariffs hurt us, right? And when they hurt the factory worker, because they think that the tariff supporters think that they can manage an economy. They think that they could use the economy and pull levers, and that they're going to get the outcome that they necessarily want. And their trade-off is people like you and I, and they're sacrificing us to go after the Chinese factory owner who creates our shoes and all that kind of stuff, because they want to damage their economy, because they think that they, can get the outcomes that they want by pulling the levers of the economy.
So the Chinese government will feel that pain and be like, okay, we're going to change.
Yeah, well, no. Yes, but no. Because the thing about China versus the United States is that China's not a democracy. In the United States, we can overthrow our leaders when with our elections.
Yeah.
China can't do that.
Right.
So the difference is that China can just take pain forever.
Right. So like these poor kids, all the bad working conditions, they can't overthrow the government and be like, we've had enough. Stop it.
Right. They can't. Yeah,
Right.
You can't do that in China.
They just keep suffering silently.
Right. So exactly. So but Americans won't. Americans won't suffer silently. What they'll do is like lemmings running off a cliff. I know that lemmings don't actually run off of a cliff, but for this story they do. The American people will vote for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in the next election because.
You think she's running for president?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
No.
We're in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, her boobies alone are going to win this election. I'm not going to lie. Like her beauty. She's going to get the male vote. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. I'm betting she's going to win. Sorry.
I would too. I would bet if I, you know what?
Shoot.
I don't usually go into like the betting markets for like the presidency and stuff like that. Some of them are kind of shady. Not all of them are legal. But if Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, if there's bets out there on her becoming president of the United States, I would absolutely bet on it. I wouldn't vote for her, but I would absolutely bet that she would win.
Dang.
Yeah, and I think what it'll be is exactly what you're saying. I think that AOC will win because she will say that like Trump destroyed the economy, vote for the Democrats, and people will actually believe her.
She's so good with her words.
And then she will proceed to make it even worse. And she will proceed to make it even worse, yeah.
You know what's real though is that I'm much more selfish now, and I do look at my own interests a lot more. Mm-hmm. And honestly, a lot of the policies of the Democrats nowadays, they do help us as middle class people. And so a lot of the Democrat policies actually would benefit people like us.
Well, like handouts,
Yeah.
like welfare or handouts or things like that, right? But we don't.
So it's sad that I actually would agree with some of the things only because it would help me, and I feel bad about that.
Well, and here's the thing. That's why Trump has gone so far to the left on the economy and the economic questions, is because he's betting that people's gives me that. And
attitude. We have the gives me that.
Everybody has gives me that.
Yep.
Everybody's got gives me that.
Yep.
So his bet, the reason why Trump is, taking a hard turn left is because he knows that, or he's betting that people are more gives me that than don't take my, shit. Don't hurt people and don't take their stuff.
They are more gives me that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
When it comes down to survival, you're going to be gives me that.
Absolutely.
All day long.
Most
if you have
people
a family to protect, 100%.
Yeah, most people are gives me that. Most people are not like, let's fix the economy and have austerity, et cetera, whatever.
Right.
So
because at the end of the day, we're not just talking about like libertarian philosophies. We're talking about how are we going to pay the bills. That's what it comes down to.
John Rail says, Steffi, you do have to look after yourself because no one else will. That's true.
John, you are so right. Nobody's going to be an advocate for you but you. Absolutely. And it's like, I would love to stay true to my values completely, but then I'd screw myself. And so then you have to say, what's more important?
Well, and
your values or actually surviving?
Well, and I think that's why so many people, like most people aren't libertarians, is because they don't see it as in their short-term best interests, right?
Yeah.
It's hard. What is the Voltaire quote? It's difficult to free fools from the chains that they revere. People love their Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security and their food stamps and their stimulus checks, stimmy checks. Like when it's funny how like when stimulus checks go out, like people are like celebrating like crazy. Left, right, Democrat,
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, I just went to Starbucks with my stimulus check.
Stimmies, yes. But I mean, and that's why AOC will probably win, is because she'll promise to take what Trump does and double down. Here's a perfect example of this. Elizabeth Warren, right? So she was asked...
the Native American.
The Native American, the squaw. She was asked about Trump's tariffs, and she says, and you know, whether or not she supported them, and she's like, she goes, well, of course I support tariffs. She's like, but the way Trump is doing them is just so out of whack, which just goes to show that like the Democrats think they absolutely agree with what Trump is doing, just not the way he's doing it. If they were the ones pulling the levers,
how would they do it?
They would just, they would do it perfectly, and no one would ever be harmed.
And they would save the small businesses in the process?
And they would save all the small businesses, and it would be perfect. Yeah, so the Democrats, the thing is that the Democrats are really just pretend opposition to what Trump is doing.
Right.
This is the uniparty, right?
Yeah.
It's more of the exact same thing. It's just with a D after it, right? It's the same thing. It's the same. No matter who you vote for, you always get Bernie Sanders.
Right. But the Democrats really would probably help the poor and the middle class while they're doing all these things, right?
Right.
So that's why a lot of people vote for that, because most people in America are poor or middle class.
Correct.
They're not the 1%.
Well, and this is where libertarianism from an economic standpoint in terms of messaging fails, is because, you know, populism is anti-elitism, and most people hate rich people. Most people, and if you try,
yes.
And my mom used to talk about this all the time, this crabs in a bucket theory. Like if you're the type of person who stands out, and you know me, if I go to the museum with the American flag, I'm the person who stands out, and they go after.
Yes.
Right. Like people are going to want to, like, if you're like a nail that sticks out, people are going to want to use a hammer and hammer you down.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I think Taylor Swift said people throw rocks at things that are shiny.
Yes.
But there's this concept, it's called crabs in a bucket.
Yeah.
So if you're like us and you don't have a boss, right? The boss is the market or the people who are watching the Wake Up America show or whatever, right? Then you're the crab who's escaping from the bucket.
Yeah.
And what do the crabs do when another crab is escaping from the bucket?
They link up with each other.
Yeah, and then what happens to the crab who's almost out of the bucket when they
pull them down?
That's correct, Stephanie. They pull them down. Correct.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like envy is so natural, I think. Mm-hmm. Even if you have a friend that all of a sudden came into fortune, mm-hmm. your other friends would be like, oh, you know, look at them. You know, we can't relate to them anymore. And it feels good to keep people down with you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's a lot. It's always easier. My pastor's wife, Julie Simkowski, when we were kids, did this exercise. It's a family joke to this day because I think I was 14 years old and I didn't know my strength. But she was standing on this chair and she was trying to demonstrate a lesson about pulling people down. And she's standing up on the chair. She says, Austin, you know, take my hand. She's like, I'm going to try and pull you up. And I want you to try and pull me down.
Oh, goodness. Did she fall on the floor?
Well, thankfully, she did not actually fall on the floor. But this was at that tender age when I was a boy who, you know, I didn't know how strong I was. I didn't understand. I thought she wanted me to pull her off. She's gonna try and pull me off. I'm gonna fight her. So I grabbed her, and this poor old church lady, man, she just went flying across the room. She did not fall. She did not fall. She did not fall.
What? She flew across the room.
She kind of did. Yeah. So that's why we remember it. But
she had a Peter Pan moment there.
Right, right, exactly. But that's why we remember it because the point of the lesson was that it is much easier to drag people down than it is to lift somebody up.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know that very well with Hazel. It's hard to pick her up, but it's easy to put her back down.
Luke Sacker, speaking of the Bible, Luke Sacker reminds
hi,
me.
Luke.
Hey, what's up, bud?
Luke actually texted us the other day, said he loves us.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Luke.
Yes.
Thanks, bud. And he emailed us too, as well, I think.
Aw.
Let's see.
I have to read that email.
Luke says Joseph and his brothers talking about the Bible. So you've never seen Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, have you?
Donny Osmond.
Yeah, but have you ever seen it?
No.
Because it's sad that you don't know. As a Jew, you don't know the Torah. But Joseph.
That's secular Judaism for you.
There you go. So Joseph he had the coat of many colors, right? And his brothers, he was his father Abraham. He was his father Abraham's favorite son. And so the other brothers were deeply jealous.
Well, that
Joseph.
sucks.
Yeah, and he gave Joseph a Technicolor coat, and Joseph was famous for his dreams, and he could see the future with his dreams.
This is really in the Bible?
This is in the Bible, yeah.
Really?
So that the Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, the musical, is based on that story. We should see it. It's a great show.
Yeah.
So it's a really fun show. It's like one of the only like Andrew Lloyd Webber shows that I can kind of stomach. I'm not a big Phantom of the Opera fan, but
oh no, that's boring.
Mm-hmm. So Joseph was cast. His brothers threw him down a well. And faked his death, like they put blood on his coat, like he had been attacked by a lion or something.
That's terrible.
Yes, it is. And so Joseph was exiled. He was taken into slavery, and he worked for the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
And Potiphar, who was like one of the Pharaoh's top men, had this wife who tried to sleep with Joseph, and Joseph refused to do so, so he was cast into jail. But he was released because he could tell dreams, because while he was in jail, he saw the future of two of the men he was in jail with. Uh-huh. And when he correctly predicted their dreams, the Pharaoh heard about it and called upon Joseph to tell his dreams of Pharaoh, to predict what the Pharaoh's dreams meant. Huh. So that's why it's Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, because Joseph could see the future in his dreams.
Dreamcoat.
I see. Yes.
Wow.
So
the moral of the story is, I suppose, that people are envious and they push people down who are shiny.
Yes, and Mongoose had the correct father of Joseph. Joseph was Jacob's son. Yes, thank you. Son of Isaac, son of Abraham. So Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Father Abraham. And there's the 12 tribes of Judea. And
wow,
we should read the Bible again. I'm going to read it to Hazel.
Yeah.
But we should read it again. I read it so many times when I was young, but it's time for a refresher, I would say. But Joseph. Yeah. The story it's about jealousy, right? Yeah. And it's about miracles, and about keeping a relationship, a strong relationship with God can see you through even the darkest times.
I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The power of prayer is very strong.
Yep.
I'll always remember when my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and I told you about it while you were running for U.S. Senate, and you were on a live stream, and you told everybody to, put us in their thoughts and pray for us. And seriously, right after that happened, I felt this huge rush of positivity for my mom's recovery from cancer, and that really is what carried us through. So I can definitely say that is very powerful.
We are we've been talking a lot recently about how just how perfect for each other we really are, mm-hmm. and how we help each other, and so how we were really just kind of meant to be in a way, right?
Yeah, it's still hard to believe our story.
Yeah. Yep.
It seems like yesterday that I was on the live stream while you were running for U.S. Senate, and you were just you said something like, what was your favorite part of the trip or something? And I was just right now, on the live stream with you, this is my very favorite part, being on stream.
Which, speaking of, just recently we were in Washington, D.C. together for the We haven't even talked about that because you haven't been on.
No.
Since the tour. How did it go, Steffi?
It went way better than I ever imagined that it would. Hazel, she was a real trooper. I mean, we had a lot of challenges before we even got to Washington, D.C. We missed a flight and had to switch flights, and it was terrible. And then on the way back, we had flight delays. But Hazel was a real trooper, and the Capitol tour went so smoothly. It was wonderful. I think everybody on the tour, we all vibed so well. Mm-hmm. That was the coolest part of it. we would all just like talk to each other. We had so much conversation, and there was a good amount of, all ages, and there were children. It was such a family friendly trip. And people just kind of like went at their own pace. They followed our tour, but if they wanted to do other things, they could. And I think that's what was so cool about it. It was a very flexible type of trip for people to, accommodate their own needs. And then we had the American History Museum, obviously, where you had the American flag mishap. And I was there. So I am one of the people who was a witness to this American flag issue. So basically, I saw this guard lady, and she told you to put your flag away. I saw you rolling up your flag, and then I heard her say that it could be offensive to some people. And then I remember muttering, and I was just like, you can't have an American flag in an American History Museum? And I was hoping the guard would hear it, because sometimes when I get annoyed with people, I say things, I make comments to hopefully like make them hear them and make them feel bad. But it clearly didn't work.
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. Glad to have you here. Fridays are a special day. We call it Freedom Family Friday. That's when I bring my smoking hot redheaded libertarian wife, Stephanie, on the show. And she's here with us right now.
Hello. And then the Revolutionary War weekend. Oh my goodness. That was so cool.
The videos that I got of the troop movements at George Washington's Mount Vernon were amazing. I'm going to probably use them for like commercials and videos and pictures.
Yes.
And, like that, so.
And baby Hazel literally slept through the cannons and gunfire.
Yeah. So like when a cannon goes off near you, it's not just about the loud noise. It's very loud.
I was shaking myself.
But there is a concussion force that goes through the air, and Hazel is not that far away from the cannon.
No, we were maybe
pretty
50, close to it.
We were like 50 feet, 50 feet away from it, and that thing goes off, and Hazel's just sleeping, no problem. And then they kept shooting it, and I'm looking at Hazel, and she's laying there sleeping, and I can see the shock waves. It's like,
that's the thing is she likes movement. She sleeps best in the car or when we're on the move in the stroller. And so I think the movement from the ground of like the cannons and the gunfire, I think she was like enjoying those vibrations.
Yes.
Very weird.
Yeah. So if today's your first time watching the Wake Up America show and you're enjoying the content, click the like button on the Rumble feed as well as the follow button so you can come back and join us for our regular schedule, which is every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. The Wake Up America show streams live. We have bonus content for today. It's a Lego mini documentary.
Oh, I know. We've just been like chatting it up all day here.
Exactly. It's 8:13.
So we haven't even talked about the bonus content.
Yes. So if you want to unlock the bonus content, you can do it in 2 ways. One is to drop Rumble rants, which many people have been doing.
Oh, they have been?
Yeah, we've been people have been dropping Rumble rants.
Oh, thank you.
Exactly. Thanks, guys.
Gosh, we've just been talking and so distracted.
Well, it's been a great conversation because like right now we're like going viral for like the Chase Oliver tweet that he posted right now.
He's just trying to make people forget about his trans positions, transing the children. He's hoping to just like throw poo on someone else and be like, here, just forget about all the things I've done. Here, this guy, he's bad.
Well, he was also dishonest because he said that I didn't think that this was going to happen, but I did. That's why, he's
just taking it out of context. So stupid.
I think he's just kind of butthurt because, I slapped him around a little bit.
I know. He would have lost anyway. Come on, Chase. Nobody voted for you.
Nah, it's again. Yeah. But what I think is interesting about this, and thank you, Drew, for the gifted sub. We're at $55 towards the $75 goal.
Oh, we're almost there. $20 more. Goodness.
Bucks, and then you guys will get to see the bonus content, which is really good. Today's is really good and fun. So definitely do that, or go to forlibertyshop.com and unlock the bonus content. So today we're talking about the Leopards Ate My Face party, which is the Reddit thread that was created from Chase Oliver's thing where he's kind of dunking on me for like voting for Donald Trump.
Right.
And then having like the shoe tariffs elevated to what was 145%, but then I guess this morning has become 80%. So it's like you can't vote for someone knowing that like you're going to get the bad things along with the good things without people.
Right. Oh, sure. Yeah. If we voted for you, Chase, we would have gotten all good things.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, the sad thing is that we would have voted to trans the kids. And
we would have had drag queen bingos with children.
Right. We would have had drag queen story hour. We would have had all of those things, and we would have voted for that, but we would have still Trump would have still won, and we would have gotten the tariffs. Right. So
I can't see the screen anymore.
Oh yeah, it goes to sleep.
Oh, our computer went to sleep because we've been talking so much. Yeah, exactly. So come on, Chase. We would have had some benefits and consequences with you too.
Well, and again, it's like, the lefties and libertarians, they're throwing rocks from outside the tent. We're throwing rocks from inside the tent.
Right.
They sacrifice nothing. They
have all these anonymous names. Let me tell you, these messages that are coming through our Shopify account here. Okay, Elon Musk was messaging us. We had JD Vance messaging us. Like, these are like fake people that have no cojones to actually use their correct names. So they're just anonymous people, and they're just like hiding behind a screen. Wow, how brave are you? Yeah, I'm sure they're just big business owners
Stephanie,
throwing poo at us.
Stephanie,
I don't think so.
I love you, Stephanie.
Yeah, no. It's so stupid. I mean, seriously. And they probably have no job at all. So they just sit there twiddling. And this was in the middle of the night, mind you. So these people were up at 3 a.m. messaging our shop. Like, what are you doing?
There a lot of drugs, Stephanie.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of drugs.
Do you not have a job? Maybe they work the night shift. Okay, I'll give that to them. Maybe they were at work on the night shift, tweeting, messaging.
Camellia has missed all of the drama that
oh my
exploded
goodness,
overnight.
girl!
So
girl.
Yeah. Do you want to give her the the breakdown of what occurred?
The Chase Oliver issue.
Yeah. What happened and why now all of our X is getting flooded by leftists. What's amazing? I'll start it with this and then I'll let you tell it. What's amazing is that when you get attacked by a libertarian, that the people who come to support them are all leftists.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Yeah.
So apparently all those people wanted Chase Oliver to win for president?
Well, maybe a lot of them did support him. But here's the thing. It just goes to show what the Libertarian Party has become.
Yeah.
Right? So go ahead,
They're
though, Stephanie.
They're just a shell.
So rehash it for Camelia's sake.
So Chase Oliver apparently went back in time and screenshotted Austin's posts from a long time ago. When was this first post? This first post was from
July of 2024.
July of 2024. And so Austin said, I'm voting for Donald Trump for the economy and to own the libs. And then he screenshotted another post from Austin on May 8th, 2025. So that was just yesterday, where he said, well, there went my shoe business. I don't understand why the tariffs have to eliminate the de minimis exemption. Why does government punish small businesses in this country, knowing full well that Nike and all the big brands will be fine paying the taxes, but Steffi and I get wiped out? So after he posted that, then there was a large Reddit forum called Leopards. What is it called? Leopards.
It's called Leopards Ate My Face. I love listening to your explanation on this.
I was up at 2 a.m. because I have a cold and I couldn't sleep, and I was going through this Reddit forum and I was like, wow, look at all these people. And so all these people are just slamming Austin in these comments, and they're just like, how does it feel to be owned now? Like, you're losing, And then they started sending us oh, we got another message here. Oh, yep, another guy just messaged us. Surely the current situation is everyone else's fault again, isn't it? The policies you guys support are never to blame for anything. I mean, these people come up with the stupidest messages to send us. These are not offensive whatsoever. We are not upset by them. And they're thinking they're hurting us so bad by doing this. They're like, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna make him wish he was dead.
And it's funny too, because so Chase is called out all the lefty attack dogs on X, but you can see for example, here's today's show. This is the live show over on X, and it's got a huge amount of views. So we're gonna make a nice little chunk of change on this from X.
Oh,
I
wow.
think
Yeah, we
today's-
got a 3,802 views.
Yeah, that's a lot for the show over on
and
X, which is nice.
5,298 views from
Yeah,
the post.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh my God, 69 comments?
But yeah, exactly. 69.
What in the heck?
Yeah, so...
Of
but
course,
these
they
are all-
love 69 in the leftist
But
party
it's
there.
all those people from that Reddit forum, right? And they're all like reposting it.
Yeah, and like seriously, their comments are just so not hurtful. You know, like they could say so much more offensive stuff, but they just don't know how. They think they're bothering you and they're not.
It's harder to tell, like, who's dumber. Leftists, MAGA, tariff supporters, or libertarians. They're all quite retarded.
Yes. Yes, it's so sad to say that.
Yeah.
They all just have no life. They live behind a keyboard and they think they're just so powerful and great. But once they go IRL, they're these timid, awkward individuals. They're these little mouses. They will never say any of these things to your face. Guarantee it.
No, of course not. Right.
Oh, no.
No. But the so we're talking about the economics of this situation this morning, and we're getting a lot of feedback from people who have obviously never run a business or seen what a profit margin is or how much it shrinks. You know, by the time, like, you can have 60% margins, which are huge, and sometimes we even have 70% margins.
Oh, we do.
But by the time you pay the taxes, by the time you pay the fees,
because we pay for all shipping for our people, so we have free shipping, so we're responsible for the shipping costs.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
We have to calculate that as well.
Yeah.
Right. Make sure that that's correct. Right. And then, the prices are shifting all the time on us. So we at some time, and there have been times when we accidentally sold something and lost money because we were like, oh, we didn't see that price shift in time.
Yep.
And we have to stay on top of all of this on prices. Like, people just don't understand what entrepreneurs have to do in this country.
No, they don't.
In order to make it. But that's the thing. But that's why most people are poor,
right,
or middle class, is because they're too confused by the system. They don't want to take the risk.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
I too, I had an Etsy business years ago and I folded it up because I was just so overwhelmed by paying taxes, and it was basically bankrupting my business. So I get it. Business is not fun.
Mm-hmm.
It is more fun to just collect a paycheck that you know is going to be consistent.
Yeah. Barney Styles over in the chat says, you can tell Steffi grew up on the message boards. Yes.
Oh, I grew up on AOL. Absolutely. Yeah, Reddit, I never was on Reddit.
So all of this shitstorm that is surrounding Stephanie and I this morning started with the Chase Oliver tweet, right? And then the libertarians, like the leftists and the libertarians, who apparently are all working together, posted it in this Reddit forum, and now all these leftists are like spamming
And what they don't realize is they're really actually lifting us up. They're making us more money. What they want is to see our business fail, but they're doing the opposite. You guys, you're not being effective.
Maybe we shouldn't tell them that. But I mean, but the thing is,
but they don't understand economics. They don't understand how anything works.
Well,
so they're just going to keep doing what doesn't work.
If leftists understood economics, they wouldn't be leftists.
Exactly. They would actually be working individuals contributing to society, rather than throwing rocks at people who are shiny.
But they always will.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that, like, I've chosen this life, and I accept the consequences of this, right? This kind of public scrutiny. And as I was telling you this morning when we were in the shower, that, like, this is going to happen more, right?
Yeah.
As my profile continues to rise, right? This is going to be commonplace. It's like, if you go over to, like, any, like, let's say a Fox News host, pick one at random. If you go to their Twitter threads, it's the same thing. You're going to see, like, they'll have a lot of supporters, but it is like lefty hate.
Oh, for sure.
And it's because they have an impact, right?
Yeah.
It's because they're making a difference. It's because they're getting out there and doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you're wrong. The thing is that when you first start doing, like, influence marketing and all this kind of stuff, you might be confused into thinking that it's going to be sunshine and puppies and rainbows and everyone's going to love you and that everything's good. No. And like there are like some influencers who like, maybe like yoga instructors who like everything is like totally positive and but like
even me with my old YouTube channel, I remember I used to have haters. They were like, you have an Adam's apple, like you have a Jewish nose, like, oh yeah, they were always bashing me too, and I wasn't even that big.
Right, but it doesn't matter. If you here's the thing, like I said, crabs in a bucket. If you try and make an impact in this world, then you know that you have to accept that the consequences of that are going to be not everybody's going to like you.
No.
Right? Not everybody. You're going to have to put up with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But what people I think don't understand is that all of this like leopards eating my face party relies on the fallacy that I didn't know what was going to happen. That I didn't know that there would be tariffs or anything like that. I did know. Right. I just balanced it out with the other thing.
Because again, they're seeing it out of context. They have not been reading all of the tweets you've been posting day in, day out about the economy. Mm-hmm. They have not been watching your podcast every single day where you're reporting on the news. They're just looking. Again, they're headline readers. These people do not read books. They read headlines and they don't fully understand concepts. And that's how they got to the place they're in right now.
Yeah. So again, it's a very complicated matter.
Yes.
And people, it's just like, I'm sure that there are a lot of people who voted for Chase Oliver, for example,
sure,
who don't agree with his positions on trans kids.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But that, if they voted for him, does that mean that they have to support everything that Chase Oliver stands for?
No.
No, actually, I had a lot of people who said when they voted for me, when I ran for president and for U.S. Senate, a lot of people said to me, I don't agree with everything that you have to say, but I agree with the majority of the things that you have to say. And, and I think so therefore I give you my vote. So like, there's this fallacy that, and this is why democracy is so stupid. There's this fallacy that just because you vote for someone, that means you endorse everything that they stand for and all this kind of stuff. But I think, no, you can say that you vote for someone because, life is about trade-offs, not utopia. If you wanted a utopia, you could have voted for me in 2016.
Or vote for yourself.
Or run for office yourself.
Exactly. And just think of it this way. When you marry somebody, they're not perfect. So why would you expect your president to be perfect? Nobody's perfect. Everybody always has flaws or things that you might not agree with. And that's okay. But sometimes differences are good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we are $20 away from unlocking the bonus content over on the chat.
Yay.
Actually, we're only $18 away. So if you can, today's bonus mini documentary is about alligator regulations in Florida, and it's Lego themed.
Oh my goodness. Lego alligators.
Yes. So if you guys want to watch it, I think it'll be a lot of fun and you'll love it. If you go to forlibertyshop.com this morning, since we're talking about the shop, we might as well go over there. If you go to forlibertyshop.com, you can get some of our incredible products. Not everything is made in China. The shoes definitely are. But if you go to forlibertyshop.com and you make a purchase during the live show this morning, then you will unlock the bonus content. And so $18 is all we have to raise. So you could buy a box of coffee and that would clear it. You can also get a Gulf of America shark tumbler, beach towels, government tank tops, and our Gulf of America collection is there, as well as our For Liber tea. People like the tea, don't they, Stephanie?
Yes, they do. And I really wish I had some of that tea this morning. I really need it. My very favorite is the Eagle's Orchard. I'm an herbal tea kind of girl because I like the tea without a lot of caffeine.
Well, you're in luck because we do have some Eagle's Orchard here at home.
We do?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
We do.
I have to find it. I think I put it in the cabinet.
It's right over there. So we'll get it. We'll get you some right after the show.
Wow.
So Eagles
I feel like I was just surprised with a gift. How cool.
Mother's Day is coming up. Your first.
Yay.
Yeah,
we just went shopping last night I said to Austin, I was like, this year, I want flowers that are already grown that I can just put in the ground. Because usually I grow everything from seed. And I just hate waiting. And I'm tired of waiting. I just want pretty flowers now.
Tired of waiting.
Yes. So Austin took me yesterday And we got some flowers.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. It's nice to see all of our friends over there in the Rumble chat this morning. If you haven't clicked the like button yet, please do so. If you click the like button or the follow button as well, if it's your first time here, we'd be glad to have your support. There's also a repost button. I
used that yesterday or the other day. What does that do? Does it repost on your Rumble account?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
So onto your page, kind of like a social network.
Yeah.
So if you click the repost button, that will help support the show and boost it as well. If you're watching us over on X, I think there's a lot of people hate watching us over on X this morning.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Yes.
Hey haters. We love you.
We do love you.
Hi.
Stephanie, you're so cute. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But if we have anyone over on X who are not haters,
haters, please donate to save our shoe business. Thank you.
yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You know, we don't know what's going to happen with the shoe business because we have to just kind of see what's going to happen. Because like at first it was 145% tariffs. I think that's definitely a non-starter. But now he's saying 80%, that they'll drop to 80%. I don't know if that's a non-starter or not. But here's the thing. It's really just about the implementation of it because if we just ordered all the like shoes, and then just like printed them here in the United States, we would still have to pay the tariff, but we would just put the cost of the tariff into the shoe and just pass it on to the customer. They would have no idea.
Right.
And then we could just ship it direct to the customer.
Yeah.
But because of the mechanics of our business, the shoe goes direct to the customer.
Right.
That means that the customer would have to go to the post office instead of getting it delivered to their home, which is annoyance number one.
Yeah.
And then have to pay a fee, annoyance number two. So so I think that's what really kills it, because I really just don't like screwing with our customer experience.
Yeah.
Like we don't want anything to mess with our customer experience, because so far our customer experience has been good. When you go to our website and you go to forlibertyshop.com's review page, for example, these are all independently verified reviews. We use a company called Judge.me. And they, this is like most people, their eyes would kind of glaze over, but I think this is interesting and relevant now to our conversations, even though it's our business. But, 308 people have written reviews, and this company ensures that the reviews are legitimate, that they verify that they verify that the reviews are legitimate. And so therefore, and we've had obviously way more than 308 customers, but out of the majority of these customers, 281 give us 5 stars.
That's a lot.
12.4, 3 4s, 2 2s, and 9 1-star reviews.
It's better than a lot of Amazon reviews I see on products.
Big time better. And platinum transparency here, this badge means that we publish every review, even the bad ones, right? So people can read all of our reviews. We don't hide any reviews.
But the thing about the bad ones is usually most of the time we make things right, and then the people come back and they fix their review.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when they write a negative review, it's out of anger and they haven't even communicated with us about the issue. And then once they do communicate with us, we make it right. And then they're like, okay, I don't have a problem anymore.
Exactly. So this company, Judge.me, gives us this ability to verify our reviews so people can know we're being honest about what we have.
Yeah.
And, you can see their names, you can see what they wrote. You can even sort it by bad reviews, lowest rating. We have screwed up. We have made mistakes, and we have to pay the price for that, right?
Yeah.
Here's somebody who doesn't like George Washington's Revolutionary Roast. Here's somebody who didn't like
the shoes are made in China. Well, yes, they are. And that's why the tariffs are affecting us.
That's correct. Lori Welch, she didn't like the shirts, and she didn't write a review. Roseanne, we actually fixed her product, but she didn't fix her review.
Yes.
These are our negative reviews. Somebody actually made a mistake thinking 1 star was good. You could see how
Are you kidding me?
Look at that.
What?
Honey, this is how people are. So they bought the hoodie. They loved the hoodie. They gave it a 1-star review. Awesome.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of like on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? And you think 1 is the best?
Yeah.
rather than 10 is the best.
Right. And then like,
Oh my goodness.
They said bottle never arrived, but I'm pretty sure we've sent her another one, right?
That bottle was either refunded or resent, whatever.
This one says they never received item, but I guarantee you we fixed that. You know, they just don't go back and fix their reviews, right? And
when they say they got no answers, that is a lie, because we check our emails every single day. I get my Shopify messages to my phone. So it's like
we literally have so many ways for people to reach out to us, and when they do, we are on the ball with customer service. But I mean, that's why the reviews are, 4.8 out of 5 stars out of 308. That's why 281 of the reviews are 5 stars, because we go out of our way to provide excellent customer service.
We even call these people personally if there's a problem.
Absolutely. It is 8:35 a.m. Central Time.
Whoa.
So another 25 minutes of the Wake Up America show. And then tonight we've got the Freedom Arcade as well. So don't forget to join us right back here, right where we're at. Rumble.com/AP for Liberty for playing games with our friends.
What time are we going to start? Because we're trying to do some more hours tonight, right?
So maybe tonight we'll start a little early, maybe 8 o'clock.
Okay, so I'll join you a little later because Hazel will be going to sleep.
So I'll start the
right
stream
after
at 8 p.m.
sleeps.
You'll join me at like 9 or whatever. You can join me
Sounds
there.
good.
So tonight, video game streams, rumble.com/AP for Liberty. If you're watching us on any of the other social networks, come on over to Rumble. Just an FYI, it is a members-only stream. You have to be a Rumble Premium subscriber to be able to view the Freedom Arcade show. It's behind the paywall for Rumble. And if you sign up for Rumble Premium while you're watching our show tonight, we get credit for it. Just FYI, full transparency. It helps us to grow our little network, and because we're part of the Rumble Creator Program. So yes. Okay, so 124 people watching us on Rumble. Great, love to see it.
Wow.
4,803 views over on X.
Hello.
The hate watchers. That's the hate watchers over there. But
they're like, who is this Steffi person? I love when people actually start commenting about me too. It's like I'm this innocent bystander, and they start placing judgments on me as well.
Well, to be fair, I mentioned you as well. I said,
I
Steffi,
know you always bring me into it.
Well, because you're literally my wife, my business partner, and everything. But
with baby Hazel, I definitely. I think a lot about how much I want her to be in the public eye as she gets older. So I think that's definitely something we'll think about, just so that she doesn't get hurt by anything, because she's a child.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, so we do have another topic, and since we have another, we're going to switch topics. I think people are probably tired of tariffs.
Yeah, I'm tired of tariffs.
Me too. Survey shows a majority of Gen Z women won't date a man unless he's willing to do this once taboo thing. Oh. Do you think
you told me what it was, so I know what it is.
But don't say what it is.
Can you guess? Can you guess in the chat what this one thing is that men need to do?
Here's the thing. Instead of watching the bonus content now, they have to watch the commercials while we go take a quick little break, because we haven't unlocked it yet. $18 more raised, and then we unlock the bonus content.
Okay.
We're going to go
buy some shoes.
Commercial break. Yeah, buy some shoes, guys. We'll be right back. It's the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network.
When the Founding Fathers dreamed of liberty, they forgot one thing: coffee. Introducing Founding Flavors Coffee, the brew that built America, and the brew that's fueling a new revolution, one kitchen at a time. Small batch roasted, Patriot approved, and disappearing faster than a redcoat at Yorktown. Don't get left behind, soldier. Real patriots are starting their mornings with Founding Flavors. And trust us, freedom tastes better with a fresh cup in your hand. Stop drinking those tyrant brews who take your money and don't support your values. Stocks are limited, demand is booming, and your morning deserves a taste of liberty. Order now at 4libertyshop.com before the next shipment gets signed, sealed, and sold out. Founding Flavors Coffee, the official brew of morning rebellions everywhere. Get yours at 4libertyshop.com. You know what's more dangerous than a 10-foot alligator in your backyard? A government that fines you for dealing with it. It's almost summer. The kids are out of school, the grills are firing up, and all across Florida, prehistoric death lizards are sunbathing on sidewalks. You know, the usual. But this year there's a twist. If one of those gators shows up on your property, you better not touch it. unless you're ready for a third-degree felony and a $5,000 fine. Because in Florida, the state doesn't just regulate traffic and taxes. It regulates whether or not you're allowed to protect your property from a literal apex predator. Under Florida's alligator management program, if a gator over 4 feet long starts acting aggressive or gets too close to your house, you're not allowed to handle it yourself. Nope. That job belongs to one of only 113 state-licensed nuisance alligator trappers. That's 113 people, in a state of 22 million, authorized to deal with aggressive prehistoric reptiles. There are more professional food critics in Florida than authorized gator wranglers. And if you're not one of them and decide to defend your own property, that's a felony. Let's say you see a gator walking up your driveway. It's hissing, snapping, and headed straight for your dog or your kids. Your instincts say, handle it. Your government says, wait. You are legally obligated to call the state, hope someone picks up, and pray that one of the 113 trapper samurais can make it before things get ugly. In Jacksonville, a 10-foot alligator was spotted lounging in the median of I-95. Cops showed up. They couldn't shoot it, couldn't move it. They had to just stand there with real guns, real authority, and zero legal power because the gator had more bureaucratic protection than the public. It's not just ridiculous, it's dangerous. And it's part of a bigger trend, licensed helplessness. We now live in a country where the state sees your property as its jurisdiction and your self-defense as a regulated privilege. And if a bloodthirsty lizard crawls into your yard, sorry, you're not trained. You didn't take the state-sponsored course. You don't have the laminated card. This isn't about wildlife conservation. This is about control. Let's break this down. You're not allowed to act until one of the government's chosen few arrives with a net, some duct tape, and a badge that says approved by Tallahassee. Until then, keep your hands in your pockets and hope the gator is vegan. This is government overreach at its finest, the kind that turns common sense into a criminal offense. You're not allowed to protect your children, your dog, or your guests unless you've filled out the right paperwork and paid the right fees. It's one thing to have laws that protect endangered animals. It's another thing entirely to make homeowners felons for trying to protect their homes from 500 pounds of armored reptile muscle. And yet, that's where we are. Let's talk about property rights and self-defense. If you can't defend your home from a wild animal, do you really own it? Or are you just renting from the government until a licensed professional gives you the green light to intervene? This isn't just a Florida thing. This is a warning sign for every American who believes in the right to protect what's theirs. We've normalized the idea that our rights stop where bureaucracy begins, and the more we accept it, the more absurd and dangerous the rules become. We've reached a point where a swamp creature has more immediate legal protection than you do. Think about that next time you're out mowing the lawn and you see something move in the bushes. So, as summer kicks into full swing and people across the country head outside to grill, relax, and enjoy the sun, remember this. If you're in Florida, you better enjoy it from a safe distance, and with your lawyer on speed dial. Because if the wrong kind of wildlife shows up, you're not just calling animal control. You're playing Russian roulette with the penal code. And that's why liberty matters. Not because it's fashionable, not because it's nostalgic, but because without the ability to protect yourself, your home, and your family, all the rest of your rights are just decoration. So let's make this summer count. Let's make it a summer of freedom. At forlibertyshop.com, we've got everything you need to declare independence from overreach. Shirts that say, I own my property, mugs that warn bureaucrats to back off, and gear that proudly says what you're all thinking. Don't make me get the gator. This summer, we don't take orders from reptiles or regulators. We defend our homes, we speak the truth, and we do it in style. Check out the Summer of Freedom collection at forlibertyshop.com and show the swamp you're not scared. Because liberty doesn't take a summer break. See you next time.
fucking
Fine,
you are
man.
fucking you are fucking
You fucking you bloody.
You bloody-
Fuck you bloody. Bastard bitch.
You
Fuck you,
bastard,
fuck
you.
you. Bloody fuck you bloody. Fucking mother bloody fuck bitch.
bitch you
Bloody
what
fuck
do?
you fucking bloody bastard. Benchwood bloody.
Banchot you
You blunder.
no but why is
Bloody no.
why
Bloody
that
fucking.
is accident then what you wanna
Why you fuck me? I fuck you bloody. Bloody bastard. Fucking running like lady, eh? Bloody. What the fuck, man? Fucking now shout at me, innit? Why you shouting at me?
because I am going to the work if you don't do it do the other places
Why you shouting?
because of this you are doing I don't know you are doing like this I think you are going to accident
No, shouting at me no good, man. Me no shout at you.
but the thing is that what you think if you do like this one you are going at work and
That was the first shot in the battle between India and Pakistan.
I thought it was the ending of your daughter come to my house today and she kicked my dog.
You kicked my dog
This
bloody.
is the ending part of it. What in the world is going on? I mean, these people, maybe they should just start speaking Hindi. You know, their native language.
That fuck you bloody bastard, but Ben Chode.
Where
well,
are they? Are they in the UK?
Remember the other day when I taught you the Ben Chode?
Ben Chode.
Remember when I said the other day it was like if you call him Ben Chode, it's the insult.
Oh, I kind of remember something about that.
Yeah. I think we were talking Ben Chode. Ben Chode means sister lover.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, sister lover. Ben Chode. So they did say Ben Chode in there.
So, do you think they're Indian? These people?
Yeah, probably. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
goodness! You are going at work.
Ben Chode, bloody bastard, bloody.
Oh my
It's
goodness!
probably like bloody is like a British curse
I think
word.
they're in the UK. They're probably in the UK.
Yeah, I think that they're either Indians or Pakistanis in the UK because like bloody is like a British.
It's like just speak your native language, guys. Like you clearly both know
They
how to speak
did.
it.
They said Ben Chode. They said Ben Chode, the sister lover.
Oh boy.
We're having fun. At least we're having fun this morning, aren't we?
Oh, we are. We
Yes.
are. I think people want us to have a terrible morning, but we're actually really enjoying this.
They don't know like how much like all of their anger and their rage or hatred like suits our interest. It's kind of
Yes.
like it's the tar baby, you know, in a sense, right? You know the story of the tar baby.
Oh, your mom used to tell this story, didn't she?
Yeah, the tar baby was a trap that Brer Fox set for Brer Rabbit, which was a tar baby. It looked like a baby and it was made out of tar. And Brer Rabbit, this is Songs of the South that Disney got rid of because they thought they were too racist.
Oh, this is going to make the libs even more upset.
The lib turds are going to
boy.
hate this one. Yeah. So the tar baby, which looks like a little African American child, is sat on a log, and Brer Fox and Brer Bear, who want to eat Brer Rabbit, wait for Brer Rabbit to walk by. Brer Rabbit walks by and he sees the tar baby and he says, "Good morning to you, sir." And then tar baby just sits there and doesn't make any noise. And Brer Rabbit says, "Well, you got no manners, sir. You can't say hello to us." And the tar baby just sits there. And Brer Rabbit gets angrier and angrier at the disrespect that the tar baby is showing him by not answering his question. Typical Southern gentleman, demands respect. And so eventually he says, "Well, I'm just gonna punch the lights out of you." And so he goes to punch the tar baby and he gets stuck. and so what happens is that Brer Fox and Brer Bear go to eat Brer Rabbit. But Brer Rabbit says, they're so mad at Brer Rabbit because he's always tricking them. Brer Rabbit says, "Well, if you really want to punish me before you eat me," he's like, "whatever you do," he's like, "don't throw me in that briar patch. Don't throw me in that briar patch because that'd be the worst. All the stickers, they'd all get me, right?" So Brer Rabbit convinces Brer Fox and Brer Bear to throw him in the briar patch to punish him.
He's like, "Don't do that.
Don't throw me.
Do that."
Right. He uses
wink.
reverse psychology. And of course, Brer Rabbit lives in the briar patch.
Yeah. Don't hate on us. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
It really hurts us.
Right. I see Drew Van Runkle's wanting to use our little tool that we use to make our mini documentaries.
Oh.
And Brad, what you should do is, because we use affiliate links and stuff like that, so we get credit for getting people to sign up, Brad. So give him the affiliate link for Flicky that we have. It's in the tools. And then Drew can use that to sign up, and then we get credit for it, which is the way to do it. And don't give away our secrets, Brad, without telling me first, by the way, without our permission. But Entropy Nomad, Mighty Megatron, Drew Van Runkle, Real Science Questions, and Peter the Great joining us live over in...
Wow. We are among some of the best and most powerful.
Yes. Somebody said that was a great clip to come back from commercial from. I agree.
I know. I was like, oh no, what if people are watching with their kids?
Well, you know what? They do, just like we care a lot about the Chinese factory worker kids. Screw them kids. Survey shows a majority of Gen Z women won't date a man unless he's willing to do this once taboo thing. What was once a red flag for many is now considered a bright green flag among young people. Here it is. Are you ready, Stephanie?
Yeah. What if he doesn't? He should cry. Maybe they want a man who cries.
Here it is. No. The survey found that 55% of Gen Z women won't date a man unless he's willing to go to therapy.
Okay. I could see that. I have a lot of women clients, and when they have marital problems, the one thing they want their husband to do is go to therapy themselves. Not just couples therapy, but they want individual therapy for their husband to work on their issues.
Exactly.
Yes. So I would agree with that.
Do you think that that's a good thing or a bad thing? Can you see how it could be a bad thing?
If it's a requirement for them to go to therapy, yeah, I think that, not everybody needs therapy, but if you see that the guy that you're dating has a lot of issues and he's like, treating you poorly and he seems to have a lot of baggage from his past, maybe that's something to suggest, but I don't think it's a requirement necessarily, because it's like if he's totally fine, what does he need to talk to somebody about? Like, I'm sure he could still make goals on his own and be successful. You don't necessarily need a therapist to do that for you.
55%. I feel like, though, that this is really their own neuroticism, right?
Yeah.
That I'm not saying that some men don't need therapy. I think some men do.
Sure, the wife batterers. Sure, I think they need therapy.
They have to go to jail, but they're still a little bit stronger than therapy stuff.
Right.
Yeah. That is so funny.
Yeah, but if it's a guy that's generally pretty happy and he treats you good, why does he need therapy?
Yeah.
Just because the woman's in therapy, maybe it makes her feel better that the guy is too, so she doesn't feel so weak. I don't know if that's part of it.
So, for Mental Health Awareness Month, they surveyed 2,500 Americans on the relationship between mental health and modern dating. The results were overwhelmingly in favor of therapy. For many, it is actually a turn on. I think that you know what I think? I think they're lying.
Oh, that it's a turn on?
Yeah.
That they go to therapy?
Yeah.
Well, why do you think they would lie? What would be the benefit of that?
Because I think that white liberal women tend to, especially young Gen Z types, I think that they like to virtue signal about what they think is good. But I think that it's just like with people when they say they'll buy American.
Right.
There's their stated preferences and there's their revealed preferences. Women do this thing called shit test, where they test a man's fitness to,
You've
to be a
explained
partner.
this, before.
Yeah, and so what women will do is they will say that they want something and then see if you actually go for it, but it's bait, it's a trap. If you actually go for it, if you actually claim to be whatever it is that they say that they want, those traits in a man that are not masculine traits, they will then disqualify you from their romantic. It's called friend zoning. You'll be friend zoned.
Oh yeah, I see women do this all the time, where they tell the man, this is what I want. You should act this way, And then the man acts the way they want. And then they're like, why is he trying so hard?
Right.
Why is he smothering me? And I'm like, but you said you wanted him to be more attentive to you. What do you want? But it's too much.
Yeah.
And
I'm being
just like,
smothered,
what-
right? But when in reality, like the truth was that she wanted to be ghosted. She wanted to be ignored.
Yeah.
She wanted him to not be thinking about her. And
She really wants to be put in her place, right? That's what you always say. The woman really just wants the man to like squash her and be like, lady, listen. No, I'm not going to do what you want.
yeah.
And then she'll be like, oh.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't control him. He's wild. He's
Right.
untamable. But maybe I can tame him. If I work long enough, if I
Right.
ensnare him in this trap, maybe I could do it one day. But
And then once he's tamed, then she's like,
Then she doesn't
oh, I don't want to be here anymore.
don't you like have a client or something?
I do, currently, yes.
Don't you like that?
Yes.
That exact same situation
Yes.
because he bows to her wants and her demands.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not to say that like you asked for me to take you to buy flowers the other day. I take you to buy flowers like that. It's
Right.
not the same kind of thing. But we're talking about other types of behaviors that would turn you into a simp or a friend zone status. You don't want to end up in the friend
You
zone.
always have to have a backbone.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, man, woman, it's okay to speak up. It's okay to set those boundaries. Your partner's going to respect you more for that.
Yeah.
Trust me.
So don't believe the surveys when they say that women want a man who goes to therapy. It's a lie. They're just using that as a test to see if you fall for it. And if you do need to go to therapy, I'm not saying don't go to therapy. I'm just saying
Right.
maybe don't talk about it to women. Women will say they want a sensitive man who cries. If you cry in front of them, you will be excluded from their romantic interests. It doesn't matter if it's
Right.
it doesn't matter if it's fair. It's not fair. It doesn't matter. Life isn't fair.
It's better to cry with a therapist than to cry to your wife. Yeah, probably if you want to cry, definitely go to therapy because your wife is not going to have any of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Camellia, we've summoned her with that conversation. She said, men just need to remember it's all about balance. Going to other extreme is bad. Okay, maybe we'll see. All right, Stephanie. Today
It's already the end?
Yeah, it's over.
Oh, I didn't know
show's
that.
done.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
we're gonna
goodness.
start the day now.
Wow.
All right.
Oh, God, we continue to get messages. These people just keep messaging us.
It's going viral. It's going viral. Yes. So we'll continue to be hearing from left. I'm going to go now. Start engaging with the leftists.
Yeah.
And start throwing poo back.
Yeah.
So the only problem is that now I'm fighting leftists, MAGA leftists,
Oh, geez.
and libertarians all at once. So
Yeah.
it's just like that scene from Battle of the Bastards where Jon Snow is like standing alone in the middle of the field, pulling out the sword. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
All right.
See, in the end, we win because your account is monetized. So you get money for all of the
I'm going to go
comments.
out there into the mines and I'm going to go out there and start making as much money from these leftists, libertarians, and MAGA leftists as possible.
Yes.
Drew Van Runkle says, I just called my therapist and canceled my appointment because AP told me to. I did not tell you to.
No, I'm a therapist. I have a lot of male clients. I think it's totally good. If you want help processing anything, if you want help with your relationship, I mean, it's good.
If
And
you're
I definitely recommend couples therapy. If you and your partner are having issues, couples therapy is going to help you both have a mediator so that you can communicate better.
No. Couples therapy is where women go to for the last stand before, they're looking for the good. They want someone else to tell them why it's okay to divorce their husbands. That's what couples therapy is.
Because that's usually what therapists do, is they take a side, and that is so wrong.
Yes. Couples therapy is a place where women go to find another woman to say to that woman why she should divorce her husband.
Right.
And that way they get
Same with individual therapy.
social proof.
I mean, people really come to me to basically get validation for leaving their spouse, and I don't give them that validation. I say, hey, look, there's options here. Let's go through those first. So I'm kind of that roadblock.
Thanks everybody for watching the Wake Up America show today. Even all of the haters and the losers over on, that have been attacking us over on X. I'll be there soon, baby girls. I'm gonna come over there and I'm gonna twiddle your little thumbs. I'm gonna make sure you all have a wonderful day. And it's time for AP to put on his armor and do battle. We'll be right back on Monday. Don't forget tonight, Freedom Arcade. I'm gonna start at 8 p.m. Central. Join us right back here on Rumble for a little gaming, but it's members only on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network.
Be free.
When the Founding Fathers dreamed of liberty, they forgot one thing: coffee. Introducing Founding Flavors Coffee, the brew that built America and the brew that's fueling a new revolution, one kitchen at a time. Small batch roasted, Patriot approved, and disappearing faster than a red coat at Yorktown. Don't get left behind, soldier. Real patriots are starting their mornings with founding flavors. And trust us, freedom tastes better with a fresh cup in your hand. Stop drinking those tyrant brews who take your money and don't support your values. Stocks are limited, demand is booming, and your morning deserves a taste of liberty. Order now at forlibertyshop.com before the next shipment gets signed, sealed, and sold out. Founding Flavors Coffee, the official brew of morning rebellions everywhere. Get yours at forlibertyshop.com.